It feels like I have been stuck in my own time loop trying to record this review of a time loop story. Technology's failed me, interruptions, brain fog. It might not be the best review of Doctor Who ever, but this is my final attempt. Happy New Year, welcome to 2022, and this is my review of the seasonal episode of Doctor Who, The Eve of the Daleks. Yes, the contractually obliged Dalek episode was consigned to New Year's Day again this year, and my overall thoughts were, it was an okay episode. I think in the confines of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor era, okay is all we can aim for, and it was okay. What else can I say? Not much else. Storyline wise, it was simple. It wasn't too confusing. We had the time loop story. Now, correct me in the comments below, but is this the first ever Doctor Who time loop story we've ever had? I can't remember one in New Who, and I certainly can't remember one in Classic Who, so I'm going to go out on a limb on YouTube and say first ever Doctor Who time loop story. And it had its own little Doctor Who twist. When the time loop looped, you lost a minute. I thought that was quite clever. I thought it was quite an ingenious kind of time loop solution than what we've normally seen from standard sci-fi time loops. It suffered a bit because in normal films you get, 2.5 hours to span out the story, and the concept of the time loop can be spread out over a longer period of time for the characters and the viewers to understand what's going on. But we only had 60 minutes, so we had to rush through a lot of stuff to get to the sort of the loops to understand what was going on there. So it suffered a bit there. I think it also suffered from it trying to be too cute with some of the time loop rules. And with time loops, I'm a bit of a stickler for rules. You've got to get them right. For instance, there was one of the loops where Sarah, the human character, was going to go and save Nick, the other human character, because she said that if he died in this loop before the loop looped, he wouldn't come back or something like that anyway. But that didn't happen again. We didn't get that for any other character, and I think they all died in the next loop anyway, so they kind of forgot about that. It kind of went away. Likewise, I didn't really understand why or how they worked out that midnight was the end of the loop. Obviously, it was New Year and the concept was there, but did they actually explain it, or was it just kind of assumed that that was when the end of the loop was going to happen? Yeah, the storyline was okay. The human characters, there was only 2 of them. I think COVID probably affected the filming because, they effectively were running around an empty warehouse for the most of the storyline. Sarah and Nick were the 2 characters, and surprisingly, Sarah certainly was written really well. Normally with this kind of era of Doctor Who, the human characters are very two-dimensional and easily forgettable, but she wasn't, and she wound me up, and full credit to the writing, she wound me up because she was a little bit different than the usual, what do we call it? I'm going to say it, the Doctor Who damsel in distress type character. Yeah, she wound me up. She was a bit bitchy. She didn't like her situation. She didn't necessarily like Nick when she first met him, etc., etc. So it's a little bit different than the usual kind of standard human character. Nick, on the other hand, was a bit bland. Obviously, they were playing for laughs and trying to do something slightly different with the reason why he was using the self-storage facility to be a bit serial killer-like in storing all his ex's possessions. Didn't really make me laugh. What did make me laugh was the fact that I thought maybe he actually, for a second, was a serial killer. Now, imagine that in a Doctor Who episode. The Doctor has got to evade the Daleks and a serial killer all in one episode. It never happened, but it'd be good if it did. Yeah, they didn't need that. He could have just been some dodgy Del Boy style geezer who was running a dodgy business out of the storage facility, and that would have worked a lot better for me. Obviously, the 2 human characters were going to get together at the end. That was kind of a given. It was a bit of a cliche. And I don't know, they could have gone a different way with that. I think it was so cliched that when you saw them going off at the end to get married or whatever, it was just like, oh, could they have gone a different way with that? It would actually been better if one of them had died completely. I know they wouldn't do that on a festive, shall I say Christmas, but certainly festive episode. But it would have made a bit more impact for the loops if one of them had died in the loop and didn't come back or something like that. But it wasn't going to happen. It was cliched. The Daleks. Now, the Daleks were there. I didn't really understand. No, I didn't really understand. It's not the right word. I thought the reasons why the Daleks there were really loose, and it's kind of like we need an excuse for them to be there. Oh, let's just do this. And it was the only reference, I think, of the Flux that we got was that the Daleks were there to kill the Doctor because of what she did to them in the Flux. That was it. It was really loose, and I felt it needed more emphasis on, and they needed more of a reason to be there. And this is how I would have done it. I would have done it slightly different. I would have had no reference to tracking the Doctor down and executing her because of the Flux, but I would have had Jeff be the key thing. You remember Jeff, the faceless other employee that had all that gear stored in the storage facility? I would have actually linked it to the previous 2 Dalek episodes, the New Year ones, and had him acquire some tech from those kind of the Dalek police elements from the previous New Year's episode, and have him storing that in the facility, which sets off some kind of emergency beacon which draws the Daleks in, and they randomly encounter the Doctor rather than are there just to track the Doctor down. I think that would have worked much better for me. I think the reason why they were there needed a bit more weight to it than just, oh, we're here. The Gatling gun Daleks thing was cool. I hope they keep that, because I think that was a novel way of evading the Sonic, because I think, well, it was evident in this episode that the Sonic is overused. Russell T Davies, 14th Doctor, let's get rid of the Sonic or minimise its use, because the Sonic is just overused, especially in this era. And the fact that she used it effectively to solve the mystery of the time loop at the end was just like, oh, didn't need it. The Tardis team were the Tardis team. I'm not going to say the F word because it always winds me up. Let's go backwards. Dan was Dan. Dan is just purely there for comic relief as far as I'm concerned. No offence to John Bishop, but I don't really understand why he's there, and he's not really connecting with me as a viewer. Yaz finally after 11, 12, 30, 3 and a bit seasons, Yaz finally has a purpose, and she is going to be pining after the Doctor, Alan, Martha and Rose. I can see what they're trying to do with it, and I understand and I applaud them for doing it, but I think it's too little too late. I think they should have started this 2 seasons ago and actually sown the seed and built to it, rather than kind of hotshot it at the end of the 13th Doctor's tenure. I'll be really interested to see how they get on and develop this in the final 2 episodes they've got, but I really think it's not going to pay out how they want it to play out. Who knows? They might surprise me, but I think it's too little too late as far as I'm concerned. And finally, the Doctor. The 13th Doctor is the 13th Doctor. I think we're nearing the end of her tenure, so what more is there to say? I think this episode would have been better with the 12th Doctor. You know, the kind of alien 12th Doctor who really doesn't get humans and he's always concentrating on the end goal rather than the people around him. The Orient Express episode where he tests theories using the humans around him, that would have really worked in this scenario. I can see him using the humans as guinea pigs to try and work out what is wrong with the time loop. That would have been brilliant. Likewise, 10 in this situation would have been really good. He would have done a far better rousing speech than the 13th Doctor did. If you recall that rousing speech she did, wasting so much time in one of the loops, why she did that, I don't know. This character just cannot do rousing speeches like her predecessors can, and it really shows. And I know they try and do it, and they try and shoehorn it in, and they try and get her to do it, but it just doesn't work for me, and it falls really flat. And this was evident again in this episode. A, it didn't need the rousing speech, but B, she's just not very good at it. I'm sorry, she's not, and it would have been better suited to one of her predecessors. Overall, like I said, it was an average to good episode. It was a standalone episode for me, so it wasn't overly complicated. There was, 2 mentions of the Flux, and apart from the sort of Yaz relationship thing, there was not much story development for the Tardis team as a whole. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the next episode with the Sea Devils, and of course the centenary episode where she will regenerate. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So what did you think of Eve of the Daleks? Did you like it compared to the previous Dalek episodes? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm really interested to know what you think about this. Plus, what do you think is going to happen with the Sea Devils episode coming in likely Easter of 2022? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. My name is Tim, this is Sao Til, and I'll see you again soon with more Doctor Who videos. Until next time, cheerio for now, bye bye.